Right now we'll move to the second part of this week and we'll speak about diversity of different products and models inside cultural industries. First of all, we'll speak about the classification of cultural products, which has been proposed by the classic cultural industries theories. So the basis of classification of cultural products refers to few things. First of all, it's based, of course, on the notion of reproducibility introduced by Walter Benjamin during the previous week. And of course, this notion of reproducibility is the core distinction we are doing between industry and non-industry, between industrial goods and non-industrial goods in field of culture. And especially the reproducibility means that the cultural products is initially massively produced after the so-called zero copy, and then copied by particular technological tools, and then in a massive way is distributed. Then we should do a few distinctions. We should make a distinction between market goods and non-market goods. In field of cultural industry, a lot of goods are non-market goods. This distinction is not the same than the distinction between free of charge goods and paid for. For example, if we will speak about the commercial television, so the television which is generally free of charge for the customer, for the audience, at the same time, this commercial television is functioning according to the market principles, because this is the television which is mainly financed by advertisers. So it means that the audience doesn't pay the fee for this television, but this audience, the access to this audience is sold out to customers, to advertisers, and finally the advertising money are covering all the costs and attract the profits. Of course, this television works under the market principles, but some cultural products could function according to non-market principles, such as museum, for example. As I said already, generally the price of the museum fee is not sufficient to cover all the costs for the maintenance of such museum, especially if we speak about for example, big art galleries, or big monuments, etc. So we speak in this case about what we call the heritage, the cultural heritage, and cultural heritage should be free of charge for people or accessible to people. And in this case, the state could charge only a little part of the cost. Then we should make a distinction between industry and craft work, and we will do it because, as we know, and we will speak about it during this week, that some new industrialized way to produce the craft work in field of culture are just introduced right now. Of course, so we should also make a separation between goods and services. Some products are really not products, it's services. It's a permanent services, such as television. It's quite difficult, for example, to understand that cable television is the good. It's not the good, it's a service. It's permanent. It's a relationship, permanent relationship. And of course, between material or immaterial products. And if we will take as the basis this classification, we'll obtain initially 5 products. Initially, because then during the fourth week, once we will speak about the evolution of the theory of cultural industries in digital environment, we'll see the appearance of new types of products. But initially, theorists distinguished 5 main categories of products and activities. First type is the reproducible products, non-containing artistic or intellectual labor. It's devices and musical instruments. We are don't taking it into consideration speaking about cultural industries, but of course we cannot neglect this part of the production just because without devices you can't consume the majority of cultural industries, or without music instruments you can't do a musical practice. Second type, the classical cultural industries. Reproducible cultural and information products containing the artistic work, artistic labor, or creative labor. It's books, discs, movies, television programs, etc. Inside them you have At the same time, technical skills of reproducing some kind of content and the creative skills to produce this content, to write it or to sing it or to do other kind of what we call the basic artistic expression. Type 3, semi-reproducible products containing the artistic or creative labor which their reproducibility is limited technically or socially. What is the case? For example, it's some art books. You know, some art books are quite rare and sometimes are very costly. The price for such books is really high. Why? Because artificially the reproducibility of such books is limited. For example, you have a very rare book which has been produced with a circulation of 1,000 copies. And if especially this book is very demanded or have a high demand, the price is making higher. It could be, for example, the case of engraving, a particular engraving or a particular artistic craft works could be reproducible, but reproducibility is limited in order to, for example, to obtain this rare characteristic. Yeah, this will say in some way a spirit of the rarity. And it's important just because, for example, we can find it in music also. Some musical volumes, for example, of the particular artists, especially during the pre-digital era, has been quite rare to find on the market. Particular albums or particular volumes or particular tracks has been much more rare or difficult to find on the market than other products of the particular artist. So, of course, this also could be characterized as the products of the type 3. Type 4. Market products, but not coming from cultural industries. Musical performances, theater, sculpture, etc. So this type 4 is not totally, we'll say, incorporated into the model of cultural industries, just because it's not the industry. But a little bit later I will try to explain why right now we can see how this type 4 are starting to be a type 2, how some theatrical performances, how some even the plastic art are starting to become more and more reproducible and from this point of view more and more industrial. And then type 5, non-market goods. Public or association produced goods, non-commercial, which are not covered on the basis of their cost value. It's the case of museums. This is the case of public television, for example. It's not considered as a market goods. And a lot of them are financed by taxpayers or by tax model and some other models of the financing.